So we're going to start basically just by describing the residency as it exists at the moment, and then we're going to do a discussion between the three of us, about the residency program and how it runs. So we're standing up because we've got slides to show, so we can't really do that sitting down. So that's why. Let's see, Bill. I might not. Oh, that's why it's great having Bill around at CERN to help me with this. Anyway, just to say, when you were young, when you were little, the way you discovered the world was by falling down, by making mistakes, by going into the unknown. And the whole philosophy behind the Collide at CERN program is that you get blasted into the unknown as an artist, into the unknown field of particle physics, which may be new to you and is so extraordinary because it's all about the beginnings of the universe. So what can be more appropriate, really? I direct the program, and Collide at CERN actually has two strands, one with Ars Electronica Linz, and we're very proud to have started the program with them. And we also do another strand with the city and canton of Geneva. And it's a big international competition with our partners every year. And we're in the second year of the 3-year program at the moment. And as you probably know, we're still in the middle of our open call for the third artist to come to CERN and then come to Future Lab next year. So, thank you. So, Collide at CERN, as I said, 3-year program, and it's all about provocations, actually, as well. Provocation of the fact that we actually explicitly say there's going to be no outcome. And that's a really deliberate political statement, because we believe that outcomes and production have got too focused in our society, and we're too focused on it. And actually, artists exist to create and make. So any artist worth their salt who comes to CERN will create and make something. And that's exactly what Bill did. Literally, he came in February. He came for 3 days for his induction. We always do a 3-day induction about 3 months before people start at CERN during their residency. And literally, I got an email from Bill on the train saying, I've collected so many sounds. I've just made a 24-channel sound piece on the train from Geneva to Paris. So that shows you, an artist exists to create and make, so they will make something. And our focus is very much on fundamental artistic research and scientific research. Explorations, as I said, into the unknown, about being out of your depth, deliberately out of your depth. But there's an on-site producer there to guide you all the way through it, and that's me. And then deviations. Deviations are so important in artistic process. Go do detours, all sorts of explorations, and we do lots of deviations at CERN, lots of kind of crazy things. This is Bill in induction period at the proton source. So this is the place where the protons do their little journey around the collider, and they come out of a little bottle, literally that big, and then they collide 40 million per second, just under the speed of light. And we were there when the collider was running in February, and just at the point where the protons come out of the bottle, there's a magnet, and then there's this kind of extraordinary sound, which was picked up by Bill's accelerometer, which is like 1.2 second beat. And you may hear that very, very shortly. One of the great things is also the excitement of the artists the scientists working at the lab. We've got 10,500 people at the lab. And this is one listening to the power supply. And you never think a power supply could be fascinating and multi-dimensional, extraordinary. But Christoph's his head was blown off by it. And you can see the sheer happiness and joy of hearing the thing which you work with day by day and hearing it in a different dimension. Now, inspiration partners are absolutely critical to the whole process of our residency, which I constructed. And I have to say I constructed it after a 4-month feasibility study, because I think, and I very truly believe, you cannot cookie cut artist residencies, you have to really think about the people, the place, and the culture. Every single place is very, very different. So for CERN, we have, for example, in terms of people, physicists are extraordinary. They're experimentalists and theorists. But they're also from 100 countries around the world. And you have to think about that. You have to think about the culture of physics, which is collaborative and consensus. And you have to think of the place, CERN, a kind of set from The Prisoner, basically. It's kind of 1950s shambolic building. You think, oh my God, where have I landed? Have I come on the moon? Then you go underground, and it's through the curated experiences that you suddenly unlock all sorts of extraordinary things, like the secrets of clouds, which we investigate at CERN, secrets of metals. All those sort of things have to happen. They have to be curated. And the feasibility study really proved that. And it's very important to do that kind of research. But inspiration partners, that was the speed dating aspect we do, where we basically introduce Bill in his induction to different people. And during that time, I'm observing you secretly. All of you secretly, and then working out who would be the person who would really, they would take each other further and have a really great adventure together. And during our induction, it came very apparent why Subodh and basically Bill should be matched together. And I'm just including a few little slides. This is a secret place we found at CERN, which we were overexcited about. It's an incredible drop space. And this was during Bill's first bit of residency at CERN. We've just done 1 month, and we've been investigating loads of different spaces, and this is one we may go back to. So watch this space. And as you know, we've been down in the Collider doing stuff. So we will talk about this very shortly. So I think if we're just going to very quickly outline what we did, because we've only got about 20 minutes, but do come up to us afterwards, come and chat to us. We're here. So I think we have to go on stage, don't we? Or shall we stand?
So should I?
No, we'll just introduce Subodh first, yeah. So, and then, yeah. So, Subodh, why, as a really busy cosmologist, why did you want to be Bill's inspiration partner?
Well, there's perhaps two layers to that question. The first layer is, I think Bill's a really great artist. I think he does a lot of interesting things. And when I found out he was going to be the artist in residence, I thought, I'd really like to participate in this program. The next layer to that question is, myself in my work. I think everybody here probably gets a sense that creativity is a very nonlinear thing. No one really understands why it is, how it works. And as a scientist, I find that I can often get too wrapped up in what I'm doing, in the nuts and bolts of what I'm doing. And I thought that maybe this is just the kind of little jolt that I need, and who knows what'll come of it. So
how's the jolting going?
Pretty great. I mean, I've very much enjoyed, when Bill was at CERN for that month, just having the sort of conversations that we've been having, and having to myself reorient. When you hang around people from your own guild on a daily basis, you take a lot of things for granted. Your modes of thought become very stuck, and you don't question them so much. And then talking to other people who are exploring in their own way, doing their own thing, it can be a very nice sort of way to be like, oh, how's it going for you? How are you thinking about this thing that you're trying to get around? And it's just very refreshing. It's very nice to have that. To have to be brought out of yourself is always a good thing, I think.
And what's your favorite thing which has happened so far?
Well, I suppose there's multiple things. The thing that I really appreciated the most was I always, and I think I've mentioned this to Bill, I've always sort of had the sense that there are, being an artist is a very creative thing. You are supposed to think of yourself as a creator, as an artist, and being a scientist is sort of, you're supposed to think of yourself as someone who discovers or an explorer. And what I didn't realize that an artist could also be an explorer and a discoverer too. And I think that my favorite moments were when I'd see Bill walk around and sort of like belt out this sort of like almost eureka-like sound when he discovers something very, very cool that he likes. And I mean, I get that in my work, and I think a lot of scientists do. And I felt like there's a bit of a resonance there, and he could have been a scientist. I mean, yeah.
When I was a boy, I wanted to be a scientist. It was my first wish. But I became a kind of acoustic scientist, artist instead.
So can you reveal what you've been up to? So over to you in the computer.
So I have a short slideshow with some sounds, a few images. But I just wanted to say the great thing about getting to know Subodh is, for me, the conceptual side of what I do is very important. And the kind of nature of dialogue I have with him is very different than the dialogues and conversations I would have with people in the art world or the music world. And, I'm really interested in the physics of sound. And one conversation we had, I had said to him, because I do a lot of work with vibration sensors, accelerometers, and I'm really interested in how sounds sort of travel and inhabit physical materials. And it's very different than the way sounds move through the air. Because if you take an accelerometer on a complex physical structure, like I was in a hydroelectric power station in Lyon, France, and I put an accelerometer at one spot, and I move it just a couple of inches, the sound changes tremendously. And very small movement, position changes of the accelerometer would reveal very different sounds. And so it seems to me that vibrations in structures are almost like particles. And you said that particles of light are photons, and then you said a particle of sound is a phonon, I think. And then I concluded I was a phenomenologist.